Sources inside the U.S. government are alleging that the government is currently discussing the possibilities of placing an oil embargo against Venezuela. Now, this would also include the purchase of parts and machinery necessary to carry out the oil refining process, which would further hurt the country. According to McClatchy News Service, the White House, the National Security Council, and the State Department and the Treasury Department are currently considering different mechanisms to remove elected Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro from office ahead of the April 22nd elections, which Washington has denounced as illegitimate. Among the options is a full-scale embargo against Venezuelan oil or a possible ban on the sale of oil-related products to the South American country. Now, this is actually very important, these oil products, because Venezuela doesn't produce much of the machinery and the parts necessary to carry out the oil refining process. This is one of the weaknesses of the country, that they do import that from other countries, which makes it susceptible to an embargo. The U.S. is the largest consumer of Venezuelan oil. Valero, one of Venezuela's largest buyers as of November, imports 200,000 barrels a day from the oil-rich country. Refiners on the Gulf Coast are likewise accustomed to heavy sour crude, as is Chevron. Now, any kind of embargo like this would be very devastating for the Venezuelan economy. 90% of the current economy is based on oil and oil-related products. So you can imagine suddenly losing 90% of your economic output would be terribly disastrous and could very likely spell the end of the country. Now, this move to sanction Venezuelan oil comes out, no doubt this is not a coincidence, as the Petro, the Venezuelan cryptocurrency, come out that is tied to the price of oil. And this is a measure that they've taken, this cryptocurrency used to get around many of the banking sanctions that are placed on the country as a result of U.S. hostilities against the country, because the United States has no jurisdiction over cryptocurrencies, only the U.S. dollar, as it is the hegemonic currency used for trade. I mean, this is very clearly an outright attempt to sabotage the Venezuelan economy. If you took out oil, the country would be done. There would be virtually no economy left to speak of. Now, I think that the fact that the U.S. is considering going to such an extreme route certainly is very telling of their current hostilities against the country. Now, the U.S.-backed opposition in the country currently is very deadlocked on exactly what it is that it wants to do against the current government. Initially, they had demanded early elections, so Venezuela had scheduled them for the 22nd of April. And then once that was announced, most of them declared that they were not going to participate in the elections because they feel that they would be fraudulent. So on the one hand, they're demanding elections and then turning around and saying that they're not free and fair, completely contradicting themselves. Of course, as usual, the Venezuelan government has invited the international bodies, including the UN, to come in and monitor what's going on to certify that they actually are free and fair elections. I think that given this tremendous upheaval that is that has all the different opposition groups inside of Venezuela battling each other, they can't agree on a strategy, etc., I think that the possibility of a oil embargo against the country may be a sign of trying to do what the opposition groups in the country are failing to get done. And this definitely stands as something that is very, very dangerous for the Venezuelan economy and for the Bolivarian revolution in general, because there is absolutely no overstating the importance of oil to the economy. And if this does pass, this does go through, we could very well be looking at the complete and total destruction of the Bolivarian revolution. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.